Hello, it's Crafty Carol here again with another video. I apologise for missing last week, but sadly I've had COVID and I just wasn't well enough to make a video last week. But never mind, we're back into it this week and I'm starting this year's Christmas countdown. And I'm starting today to make a really simple fun fold card. This is a gatefold card, so it looks like that to start with and it opens like that, which is the gatefold, like a double gate opening. I know so a lot of people have single gates, but hey. So we're going to make that using the lovely Joy of Noel set. This comes as part of the Joy of Christmas suite, and it's beautiful. It's got this Noel, which you could either stamp or it's got a die to cut it out, all sorts of dies I'll show you. Making spirits bright, these sorts of leafy things, holly leaves, holly berries, or mistletoe, whatever you want, and these little sorts of groups of flowers, plus various, all sorts of things, and joyous there, which is just lovely. And it comes with a set of dies as well, which cut out the stamps. Here's the Noel die that we'll be using, and various other dies which I've used in that. In this one, I used this die of cutting out these little leaves just to sort of make a pattern around there. I'm going to do slightly different on the card we're going to make today. But let us get going. Let me tell you what you need and we can get going. Let me just move that to the side and get that out of the way. Oh, just show you the paper. This is the Joy of Christmas paper and it's just beautiful. It's got all sorts of patterns in it, all sorts of berries and other patterns and music and sort of wood effect ones on the back as well, which is quite nice. And there's one lovely music one. Where is it? Oh, there we are. Yeah, with the sort of dark browny music notes. So all sorts of lovely patterns in that. That's the paper I'm using, Joy of Christmas. Just put that out the way for now, so I've got space to work. So what do we need? Well, we're going to start off. The base card is a sheet of A4. This is shaded spruce I'm using this time, and it is cut long ways at 10.5 centimetres. So 10.5 times the length of A4, which is around, I can't remember, 29.6, something like that. Anyway, it's the length of A4. So that's our base card. We obviously need an envelope. I'm going to show you how I've decorated the envelope. I've actually stamped the front and I've added paper to the flap, and I'll show you how I do that. So an envelope, let's put that to the side. Then we need various other bits. We need 2 bits of DSP for the gatefold flaps, and these are 7 by 10, both of them. And then we have bits for the diagonal piece on the front, and the coloured square, and again in shaded spruce, is 7 by 7, and the inner basic white is 6.5 by 6.5 centimetres. I've also cut a piece of basic white for the inside of the card, and that is 13.8 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. So those are the various bits you'll need, plus a bit of scrap for stamping your Noel. So let's start to put this together. And the first thing I'm going to do is measure score the ends of the card. So the easy way to do this is to do both ends separately, and you're going to score it at 7.4 centimetres. So 7.4, we can use in the our lovely trimmers, we've got the exact measurement, 7.4, making sure that your cutting blade is well out of the way, and use your scoring blade just to score. And we're going to do that at both ends. So 7.4 from both ends, which is 2 and 15/16 inches. Bit of an awkward inch measurement, but there we go. Yeah, 4.25, basically 4.25 across, so just under 3 for the measurements for the gatefolds. So we're going to fold these in, and it's important when you're folding them in, I'm going to go this way so that the cut edge is inside. Make sure that the edges line up each side. Make sure it really is nice and square. So just going to bone fold that to make sure it folds really well. And the same the other side, making sure that it comes in and meets exactly edge to edge, and bone fold that one. So that is our gatefold card, and that's the base. So the next thing we can do is stick the pieces of DSP on. This isn't directional, so it doesn't actually matter which way I stick these on, because they're just leaves and berries and things. Oh, my glue isn't working. Obviously not doing something for a week. It's dried up a bit, never mind. Oh, all over the desk as usual, never mind. So stick one side and one the other. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a bit bunged up as well. This flipping COVID, it was horrible, I can tell you. We've not had it. Husband seems to be getting better much quicker than me. I'm not quite sure why, but there we go. Anyway, I think we caught it when we were on holiday, which is a very sad thing to do. Okay, so that is our base card done. And here is the one I'm going to do in the middle. And I'm going to show you a little technique for stamping, because obviously we can use our stamp pad. And given that shaded spruce is my base, I'm using shaded spruce for my sentiment. And my sentiment is the one from the set. It's Making Spirits Bright. So just going to ink that up and stick it somewhere in the middle there. And then to show you how I did the inside, if I show you my other card again, just very briefly, you can see I've actually coloured it, and I've actually stamped it using coloured markers. So let me show you how I do that. I'll just put this away. There we go. So here's my stamp, and I'm using the bigger stamp this time because I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing better. And I'm using the Stamping Right markers in the colours to match my DSP. So I've got Cherry Cobbler, Old Olive and Shaded Spruce. So what I'm going to do is use my markers to colour my stamp. I wonder if I put it against, I'll just turn that over and put it against the white, and then you'll see this easier. So I'm using the brush end of the marker, and all I'm going to do is colour bits of the stamp in the various inks. So I'm going to colour these leaves in the Old Olive. This is great fun. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. I don't actually do it as much as I used to, but I thought I'd just remind you about this way of colouring stamps, because it's such fun to do. Have we got any? What's the end of that one? Oh, no, mind. I can go over that. Oh, so I'm just fiddling around with this. I shall try and do it quite quickly. You can spend hours doing this, of course, but I'll just colour these and the sort of pointy bit stems in my, oh, that's a bit of getting mixed up with which one to do. I shall sort this out in a minute. There we go. There, and then finally I'll just do the berries in red. Now you may say, oh my goodness, what about, you know, how do you stop it drying out? Well, we've got a magic solution for that as well. I'm still quite shaky. It's quite funny, this stupid cough, and it's left me quite shaky. And I'm getting a bit shaky with doing my drawing here, but hey, never mind, we'll be fine. Just got some red on the leaf there. Let me just redo that in my darker colour. There we go. So yes, some of it might have dried, but we can use our huffy breath to make sure it isn't dry. I'm going to stamp it obviously on this side. So if we huff over it like that, made me cough, and then I can stamp it. There we go. And it's given a beautiful sort of outline of this. And then what I can do, I'll just clean that off, cleanish, put it over there. So then what I can do is use my stamping blends to colour that in if I wanted. So I tend to use the lighter ones, so I can then colour in the leaf, and then it keeps the outline looking okay, but I can just add a bit more colour to it and fill in these bits. Now you can go all clever and use, you know, blended colours and spend hours doing it. Personally, I'm not going to. I'm just going to do the outline bits of this just so I can give you an idea of what it then looks like. So I'm just using the lighter of the two colours. And finally the berries. So there. And it just, when you do it this way, I've gone over the edges a bit, I don't think it matters too much. But doing it this way, the beauty of it is that we can get the outline the same as the colour inside. I could have done it in Memento and coloured it in, of course, but I think this gives it just a nicer, slightly softer outline for your stamps. So try that, stamping using your stamping white markers. It's great fun. All right, so that's my inside done. Let me just clear this desk a bit, we're getting all messy again. And I can stick that now into my card. Try and get it even. Can't even see straight. It's ridiculous. There we go. Right, so now we have to do the front bit, and I'm going to use the Noel stamp. Right, so I found my Noel stamp, which was in there all the time, I just couldn't see it. So I'm actually going to stamp this onto a scrap piece of basic white, because I am going to cut it out and raise it up on dimensionals. So I'm using shaded spruce again, so I'm just inking that up and stamping it. There we go. And it's beautiful, this stamp. It's so it's got such lovely detail in it. If you can, if I bring it a bit closer, and hopefully that comes into with my shaky fingers, I'll try and hold it still. You can see it's got those lovely sort of leaf designs in the middle of it. It's rather beautiful. So you could, of course, stamp that direct on, but I've decided I want to cut it out using the die. So let me just get the die out, forgot to, and bring in my trusty cut and emboss machine. So to line the die up, you can actually see through it. So you just want to line it up just so that you can, sorry, I'm going to have to lean over a bit to make sure this is lined up properly, because I want this to cut out perfectly. I'm just going to use a little bit of very old tape just to hold that down, and then I can run it through the machine. Apologies for my, oops, don't get that in straight, there we go. Apologies for my coffee. There we go. So you can see the die cuts it out all in one, which is really nice, because it means you're not faffing around trying to cut out individual letters, which is great. Let me just put this away here so I don't lose it. And there we have our Noels. So I'm going to raise these up and put them on my base, put them on with using dimensionals. And I just need to decide what pattern I'm going to use here. I had, let me think, I'll probably use, I think I might use the little spray actually. Right, so that is going to go on here. So I'm going to stick this on first. It's really strange, this COVID thing. I don't know, it's left me so exhausted. And I obviously can't stick anything on straight. Never mind, that's going to do. Now, when we're sticking this on the front, I might colour those in actually. Yeah, I think I might colour the berries in. Just give me a second. So when I'm sticking this on here, the key thing to remember is you only stick it on one side. So I only want to put glue on one half of this. So I have it, get it the right way round that I want, and then I'm just very carefully going to make sure I don't put any glue beyond that halfway marker, and I'm not even going to quite go to halfway because I don't want it oozing out. Now we can line this up top and bottom with our fold lines, stick that on, and there we have the gatefold card. So it just remains me to stick on my Noels, and I'm going to use little mini dimensionals for that. I have to get a new thing out because I've actually used all the other ones, apart from some at the bottom, which I might use as bits in a minute. So I'm just putting the full mini dimensionals on the major bits of the letters. And then I'm just going to use little tiny bits that I've cut out from the edges, because these mini dimensionals, they have a lot of sort of wasted dimensional space, if you like, around the edges. So what you can do is actually just cut into those and use little tiny bits of them. So I'm just going to cut up a little bit here, chop that off. And then I can cut little tiny bits, which will go all over the desk. That'll do for now. Don't know where that one went. There we go. And these I can just use in a very fiddly way to stick on the extra bits that I want to stick down, like the end of the L. Right, so now I can stick these on, and as you can see from this one, it does fit into the middle. So the key is trying to get them straight, and that's the difficult bit, but we shall do our best. There. So we have the Noel. Now I might add something more in there. Actually, I might cut out a few more little bits and stick them out like I did on that one, because it just looks a little bit blank here. I should have put a little bit more in terms of the stamping under there, but there we go. So there we have the card. And I said I'd just go over how to make the envelope. Obviously, on the front, all I've done is stamped and coloured. You don't need to see that, you've seen me do it. But the back flap of the envelope, I've used the DSP to cover it. And I just want to show you how I do that. So I get a piece of DSP. Then all I'm going to do is, it's not going to show so well on there, I'll do it on this side and then you can see. So you want a piece of DSP that is as wide as the envelope flap, and then use a pencil just to draw around the edge. Use a pencil, because then if you do get some on the flap, then you can just simply rub it off. So hopefully you can see where I've drawn that, and then it's as simple as just cutting it out. So I'm just cutting just slightly inside the pencil line, because obviously I've drawn around the outside of my flap. And then you can see it fits it beautifully. So it's just a matter of gluing it on. And with this, I try and take care to put glue right to the edge, because I don't want the flap sort of sticking up off the edge of the envelope flap. I don't want the paper to be off the edge of the flap. So when I'm sticking that on, I can stick it exactly to the edge, and I know that that will perfectly cover the flap with nothing sticking out. So that's how I do the flap of the envelope, and it matches the card beautifully. And then all I have to do is stamp the front, which we'll just do very quickly. So got my envelope and my card, and there is my simple Noel gatefold card using the lovely Joy of Noel stamp set, Joy of Christmas Sweet. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll come back and meet me again next week for week 2 of the Christmas countdown for 2023, and hopefully my voice will be slightly less croaky. Do go to the website. All of the details are on the blog in the website if you've forgotten any of the measurements or anything, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.